Yes, well, they've sworn in the new ministry today, and it's also a significant day because Jim Chalmers has made some comments around the GDP, which has gone up 0.8% for the quarter and 3.3% for the year. But there are concerns around inflation and energy prices and the like. Now, I've had a senior figure in the government say to me in my time in Canberra this week that they are determined to ensure that the problems with inflation and interest rates and other problems that come their way are pinned on the former government. Otherwise, they can quickly become seen as the cause of the problems, this particular regime. And I think you can really see this in these comments by the Treasurer, Jim Chalmers. Dare I say he's over-egging it here, and there's a bit of risk in that. You shouldn't be talking down the economy as Treasurer, but let's have a listen to what Jim Chalmers had to say.
The situation that we've inherited is serious. In some instances, it is dire, and we can only deal with these economic challenges if we work together, state, federal, local government, business, employers, employees, everybody working together to see if we can make some progress. What we see in the March national accounts is a weaker set of figures than our predecessors and the Treasury anticipated at budget time and at the time of the pre-election update. These national accounts are a glimpse of the mess that the former government left behind for us to clean up.
So we had the Liberal Stuart Robert on with Kieran earlier. He said, pull the other one, Jim.
This is what the Morrison government achieved, including unemployment at 3.9%. And that's the economic standard we're going to hold this government to account for. Now, I see Mr Chalmers saying the sky's falling in, but numbers don't lie. The economy the Morrison government left to Mr Albanese is a strong one.
Well, Jim Chalmers spoke a lot about gas prices and concerns they're rising so quickly. And he indicated that the government would at least consider pulling the gas trigger, which would mean putting a cap on exports so the domestic market was served in terms of LNG needs. The
trigger can't be implemented immediately. There is a whole process associated with it, and so that's self-evident. In terms of the resource companies, we've had general conversations with the resource companies, but not about that specifically. And really, I just don't want to preempt a conversation with other ministers and with other interested parties, including the regulators. You know, I'm not proposing to go down that path here today. I'm just trying to be very careful not to preempt any conversations that might happen from here. Obviously, as you know, and everyone here knows, the spike in the gas price is a serious challenge to our economy. It requires careful monitoring by all of our regulators and proper consultation and collaboration about all of our options, and that's what we intend to engage in.
Jim Chalmers on that concerning element, and we spoke to Innes Willocks as well earlier from the industry group, causing a lot of pain for his members. Let's go back to where we started this hour, our conversation, and family members, loved ones from the Labor side here for the swearing in of the Albanese ministry. They've met this afternoon. The Cabinet continues to meet as we go to air now.
National Security Committee and Expenditure Review Committee first meetings tomorrow, so they're right into it. And Jason Clare, he's got education. He revealed to you that he's taking on childcare reforms as well, which is very important. But he's going to struggle to get the money, given the budget situation, that no doubt he would like for the school system, especially public schools, and for higher education. Now, Jason Clare says he is the first person in his family to go past year 10. He went to Canley Vale High School, Cabramatta boy. Big story for him. He says he always wanted this job. He said that in 2013. We played that grab earlier. Let's listen to him talk a bit about that and then about the three areas he wants to concentrate on in this portfolio.
I'm the first person in my family to go to uni. I'm the first person in the family to finish high school. I'm the first person in the family to finish year 10. You know, for my mum and dad, growing up in the 60s in Western Sydney, they didn't even dream of going to university. Oh, big time. Whether it's early childhood education, and we talked a lot about that in the election campaign and the potential that it has to help supercharge the economy by getting more people back into the economy who are at home at the moment, stuck at home, looking after the kids because it's more expensive to go to work than to not go to work because of the cost of childcare. or whether it's what we do in our primary schools and our high schools. You know, our schools are effectively the engine room of the new economy. You know, what we do in our primary schools and our high schools, if we get it right, really sets the Australian economy up for the next decade and the decade beyond, making sure that our kids have the skills they need for the jobs of the future.
So Jason Clare gets education. That was Tanya PLIBERSEK'S shadow portfolio. She drew up policy in that portfolio. But Anthony Albanese denied last night that he was demoting his leadership rival by putting her in the secondary environment portfolio of environment and water.
Tanya PLIBERSEK was in education for a very long time as shadow. What was the thinking behind her swap to environment? Was that your thinking, or did she want to do that?
I spoke to Tanya about it. She's very happy to take up the issue of environment and water. There are major challenges on the environment. We know that the impact of climate change is having a significant impact. Tanya has a long-term interest in the environment. We, of course, lost our shadow minister in Terry Butler, so needed to find a replacement.
The Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, and he has given his predecessor, you know, some grace period. He says, take as long as you need to sort things out with the family, leaving Kirribilli House.
But he's overstayed his welcome, don't you think? I think this will be a record, 10 days still in Kirribilli House. And we've had Stuart Robert, his close colleague in the Parliament, comment on it, and also David Gazzard, his close friend and a lobbyist and former staffer just before. Let's play you Stuart Robert first of all. Stuart Robert was intimating that Scott Morrison should be allowed to stay at Kirribilli for 6 months. At least it sounded like it.
I think we'll leave that to Scott to work through. I used to allow soldiers, when they're getting out of married quarters out in difficult circumstances, I used to give them up to 6 months to get out of Defence Housing Authority married quarters, so it certainly won't be that long. But Mr Albanese has quite graciously given Scott Morrison enough time, and I'm sure they'll work through that in their own good time.
Now, I imagine Scott Morrison will move out in the next day or two, but I would have thought a week is enough after you've been deposed as Prime Minister. His friend David Gazzard said the reason for it is that he has to get some renovation done on his Port Hacking home in the Shire, some painting.
I think it's been gracious of the new Prime Minister to extend him the opportunity to stay there. There's no real secret to it. He's just getting his house in the Shire repainted. The poor guy hasn't really had a day off for the last 3 years, so he's doing some much needed renovation on the interior of the house so he can move into it.
Now, Peter Credlin might be able to confirm this, but I believe Tony Abbott moved out within 3 days, Kieran.
Well, yeah, 3 days. Now we're into the second week, so we see. We'll keep a watch on that.
I hope he's enjoying the views.
Andrew Clennell, thank you.